Who are you calling the Terminator? What are you talking about? What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me, if you can hear me. What's up, Susan? What's up, Lee? We got Deborah, we got Nima, we got David, we got Frank Bruno back in the house. We got Ryan Naylor from our investment club. Throw your hands up, Ryan. Introduce yourself to everybody. Ryan was with me in Consensus in Texas, where I got to hang out with the Singularity Net folks in AI and hang out with William Shatner and some of our portfolio companies. So Ryan's in investing with us. For everybody else, turn those cameras on. I need to see your beautiful faces. Shout out to Nima for wearing a tie for me. Thank you, sir. And for the rest of you people, how dare you show up without dressing properly? Ryan's got a jacket on. That'll work. I've had women wear ties as well, so it's all good. But I need to see the whites of your eyes. Otherwise, we throw people out. So Brahim, Eugene, Emmanuel, you're on warning right now, and then Martini's going to start dropping people. I just want to see people's faces. We're going to go super fast tonight. I've actually got a call in just about an hour's time with our investment club, where we've actually got the CEO of a company we're looking to invest coming on the call live tonight. We do this every single week. So I got to get to my people. We're probably going to put $500,000 into this company. It's another Web3 play that's empowering creators to use the blockchain and metaverse. So that's what I'm doing. But until then, I'm with you 100% of the way. I want to really drop some science on what's going on with artificial intelligence. I am deep in AI. Anybody else with me right now? Been playing with AI, going deep on it. Show me hands up. Ryan Naylor has for sure. Nima has. Deborah, George, Lee. Okay. All right. Anybody else who's just a little AI curious, put your hands up, or AI worried? Anybody else? You all should be AI worried. You will when I get done with you tonight, that's for sure. Just Sec, Molly, good to see you as well. Okay, we got Ms. Duvall in there as well, and Alias as well. Okay, good. All right, great to see everybody. Last chance for Brahim and Eugene and Martin before we toss you. But look, if anybody else is coming in, just turn cameras on. We want to see faces. Folks, I'm going to go a little dark, but I promise you I'm going to bring you back to the light today. Is that okay with everybody here? All right. But I want to be real, because as soon as you start learning more about AI, it gets dark really quick. And I've had some of the top names in AI on my show, and I've got WhatsApp chats as long as your arm with all of them afterwards of us exchanging voicemails. And anybody who understands this technology is extremely, extremely concerned that it will ruin the world and take over humanity and exterminate all of us. Is that clear for everybody here, right? They just understand it's an existential threat unlike anything else. Look at the atomic bomb, right? That was used, I think, in 1945, right? Very dangerous technology. The whole world worries about a potential nuclear strike that's going to eliminate humanity, right? Is everybody clear on that? And everybody thinks about that every now and then. The thing about nuclear missiles is they can't make more nuclear missiles, and they can't make better nuclear missiles. You still need humans to do that. Is that clear for everybody here? With AI, the AI can improve itself, and the AI will become smarter than us. It's just a matter of time. And you could say it's in 2 years, which is what some of the experts say. Some are saying 2029, some are saying 2045. What if it's 100 years? It doesn't matter, but it's going to happen sooner than later. How many people agree with that? That sooner or later, in a long enough timeline, we're going to create machines that are smarter than us. I mean, to not put your thumbs up is pretty crazy. Now, does it happen in our lifetime? I think it does. And so we need to be prepared for that reality. It's called the singularity. But also, there's something we can do about it. We here are actively involved. We're about to cut $1 million check, I think, tomorrow into this investment that we're working on. Maybe it's Monday. And we believe this is the OpenAI killer. We think that this is the company that will dominate all their AIs and do it in a way that's actually good for humanity, and do it in a way that's decentralized, and do it in a way so it's not in the hands of the big tech, and do it in a way so all of us can use it and monitor it and teach it. How does that sound for everybody? Pretty good option, right? When all we're looking at now is Google fighting Microsoft, fighting Tencent in China, fighting Amazon, fighting Apple, not probably companies that have our best interests in mind, right? I've got a little bit of a history with Google's YouTube, and they don't always look out for the people. Let's just say that, all right? So if everybody's ready, I'm going to jump in. I just took this presentation up. It's hot. It's going to move fast. Pay attention. Take notes. This could be honestly the most important thing you watch all year. It could be the most important thing you watch this decade, in my opinion, to bring you up to the curve. I'm going to play videos that I've never shown before from some of the top scientists and what they're saying about this space. Is everybody ready? Yeah. Okay. Martini, throw a couple people out that don't have their cameras on, would you? I would do it myself, but I'm too busy. All right. So here we go, folks. Let's jump in. Just give me thumbs up if you can see this screen. Thumbs up if you can see this. Can you see? This is the future version of me, artificial intelligence enabled. Everybody like this version of me, right? You know, I know I'm more attractive in person. It's true, but we'll take this for now. So this is AI generation of me, and this is today's topic. Look, there was a fake eye image of a Pentagon explosion that immediately crashed the markets this week. Did anybody see this article that came out? It was something that was AI generated. Okay, so Nima saw it and Deborah saw it as well. And I'm calling it the AI misinformation wars begin. This is a reality, folks. We're going to have to start getting used to massive amounts of AI generated misinformation hitting us every single day. Is everyone clear about that? Okay. This is one thing. Imagine if 10,000 explosions had happened from around the world, from everywhere till the Wailing Wall, the New York World Trade Center, the Pentagon, I don't know, Dodger Stadium, the Indonesian government, South Africa's favorite memorial. Imagine if all of those happened at the same time and you just didn't know what the hell was going. They're either all true, 2 of them are true, 100 of them are true. And what if this happens every day? Does everyone start to understand how this can get a little crazy, right? And they're deep fakes and they look real and they're video and audio of people that we know and love and they sound real, but they're not real. Now imagine that happens every hour. Are we more confused? Maybe a little bit, right? Matter of fact, that happens every minute. You'll be in a state of total panic and you won't even know what to believe anymore. It's like you're in some fantasy world. So I want to talk about this as a possibility. And then I want to show you how we all can make money from artificial intelligence investing. I'm talking about creating life-changing generational wealth and having a say in how the AI gets generated in a way that's going to look out for humanity and not look out for the trillion-dollar tech companies. All right, everybody with me here? All right, good. We're going to go super fast. So pay attention. Again, turn phones off or whatever you got to do, but let's rock and roll here. First of all, this is the image. Can everybody see this on the right? Honestly, it's not even a great image. AI could do much better. They could do a video of this almost now. You can do text to video. Show me the Pentagon getting hit by a missile. It'll make a video. It's getting pretty close, right? George, Jeanette's seen that, right? So boom, this hit and the markets crashed on the back of it. It got retweeted by a few people and all of a sudden it happened. This is a tiny base level white belt version, to use my martial arts example, of what could happen. And this crashed markets. Imagine what happens when somebody really gets into it. Of course, RT retweeted it, so that probably didn't help things at all. Now, imagine, though, how this could go to the next level, because everyone starts to see what could happen here, right? This is going to start to be a daily occurrence with us, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Last night on Twitter Spaces, Ron DeSantis announced his presidential candidacy for America. Did everybody see that on a Twitter Space? Immediately after, there was a deep fake created as a joke that had a Twitter Space with Elon Musk, Ron DeSantis, George Soros, and then Trump came on at the end, and they were all talking to each other on a Twitter Space, and that went viral. And they were AI-generated voices of them yelling at each other and stuff. And it was kind of funny, but it was also kind of scary because we're gonna see this all the time. And the elections next year, everybody's panicking. So we're gonna have to get used to this and be able to discern what's happening. What else? The godfather of AI, Jeffrey Hinton, he just quit Google. By the way, this guy's the OG Mac Daddy in AI. All the top people I speak to at MIT and everywhere else say, this is the guy. He warns over the dangers of misinformation. This is the single biggest thing he's worried about. AI created misinformation to make us all panic and do things we don't want to do. Is that clear for everybody here? We got to really watch this, okay? This is already happening with fake images and fake articles that have been published as jokes that aren't jokes, all that kind of thing. What else? This came out today. Yesterday, I just grabbed this from the Telegraph. You guys know this? Eric Schmidt. He was 15 years CEO and chairman of Google. He said the AI has the power to kill many people. Let me read you what he said exactly. My concern with AI is actually existential, and existential risk is defined as many, 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 many people harmed or killed. This is a highly educated man, and he just used the word many 4 times. Did everybody see that? Right? I read between the lines when I watch these people. Watch Sam Altman talk. Watch these experts talk. Read between the lines. They are scared as hell. They're putting on a brave face. Many, many, many people harmed or killed is what he said. And there are scenarios, not today, but reasonably soon, where these systems will be able to find zero-day exploits. That means they can exploit a software at the second it's released and crash it and make things happen. Cyber issues, discover new kinds of biology, he recently told the Wall Street Journal. Okay, this gets my attention when someone this senior is saying this, and he's probably holding back on how he really feels. So again, pay attention. Again, this came out in The Guardian yesterday. OpenAI leaders call for regulation to prevent AI destroying humanity. Everyone's starting to really ramp up the rhetoric, but most of the public doesn't even understand this. By the way, raise your hand if you agree with me. Most of the public has no idea what's about to hit them, right? Right? I'm talking to major venture capital firms to invest with us in Zarka because it's a total of a $15 million investment. So I'm working on another $4 million. And I'm explaining to them what this is. And I'm like, where have you guys been? Like, you guys are supposed to be at the cutting edge of investing. And I'm having to explain narrow AI and AGI and all these things. And I'm like, man, if you don't know, the public just doesn't know what's happening. They're oblivious. They're walking around blind without a cane, and it's going to start to hit them. And so you're seeing people ramp up this rhetoric. British Telecom here in Britain is going to cut 55,000 jobs, but that's not the headline. The headline is 10,000 of those jobs are going to be replaced by AI. And they're saying that openly, which means it's probably more like 25,000 jobs. That scares everybody here in Britain and everybody else. And again, Goldman Sachs is now saying 300 million full-time jobs worldwide are going to be replaced by AI. That's a huge percentage of the workforce. Huge. Between 5 and 10% of the workforce. That's massive. In America, we worry when unemployment goes from 3.8% to 4%. Try taking away in America 3 million jobs. Like that would move that a little bit more, right? It would crash markets is what it would do. And when you have people out of work, what happens to property prices? What happens to food shortages? All these things happen. It's going to happen really fast. And again, we're seeing more happening. NVIDIA, the chip maker that's making all the AI chips, it just posted a surge in earnings. It's going to be another $1 trillion company. Everybody's dumping money because they got the chips that are going to make this happen. This whole industry is kicking off, and it's kicking off in a massive way. And of course, the wars are now happening. AI wars. Google Bard is now almost as good as ChatGPT. How many people here have played with Google Bard, by the way? It's bard.google.com. It's free to use. It's connected to the live internet, and it plugs right into your Google Docs, your email, and your documents. Isn't that a little scary, right? And I'd say it's almost as good as ChatGPT. I was playing with it this week. Not as good, but it's live, which ChatGPT isn't live, right? So this is all getting crazy. It's really getting crazy. And the problem with this is they're going to start doing things they shouldn't do in order to win. Is that clear with everybody, right? Google was worried they were going to die, right? ChatGPT was the Google killer. If nobody wants to search on Google, the stock price goes to zero, 2 trillion to zero. So now when they release theirs, they're like, guess what? We're just going to connect it to the live internet. Everyone's like, well, wait a second. That means the AI could access nuclear power plants. It could access the electronics grid. It can write code. It could buy hardware and have the hardware shipped to a laboratory and build code. Does everyone see what the AI can do when it's lively connected to the internet? But they're doing it because they got no choice. It's that or die. This is why we have an existential threat. And even though everybody knows they could be creating the computer that exterminates their kids, they still can't help themselves, right? To do it. And this is what we're dealing with here. Again, master plan for this guy here, Satya Nadella of Microsoft, is to destroy Google. Microsoft has been the ugly stepchild in Silicon Valley for 20 years, right? They're the crappy software your grandpa uses or you use in your corporation. No innovation, no search, no cool features. And guess what? Now it's payback time. And he wants to crush Google and every other company in the Valley so they can dominate the space and make more and more money. By the way, Microsoft stock is up 40% this year. Does everyone see here the dangers? All right. Now, Satya might have a nice smile, but he's going for blood. The problem is we're going to pay for that. And of course, I said earlier, Google overruled the risk assessment to launch Bard AI. They had a code red in December that said, you're going to die. And they overruled this and said, guess what? Just plug it into the internet. Otherwise, we're going to lose all the market share. There's going to be no search and we're dead. So they start breaking their own rules. This is why there's danger. And of course, the Google boss, Sundar Pichai, admits it keeps him up at night, these risks. But what's he doing? He's continuing to develop. And this is the thing about this tech. It makes us humans do things that will ultimately potentially kill us. Godfather of AI is warning of the danger ahead. We know he quit Google. And of course, White House now brought the big bosses there and told them they have a moral duty to safeguard society, whatever that means. The White House wasn't going to be able to do anything about this, in my opinion. And of course, now people are saying, should we shut down AI? How many people thinks we could shut down AI at this point? Come on. Even Bruno's just laughing at me now, right? Molly's like, no chance. No, and if you shut it down, is China going to stop? Is the CIA going to stop? Is Microsoft really going to stop? Are they going to just stick it in the back lot? You know, they can't afford to. So we're in an interesting place. Now, look, this is Professor Max Tegmark of where I graduated, MIT. He's a physics professor that a few years ago put everything into AI. I had him on the show last week, and I got a piece of video I have not released to the public yet. Max wrote the letter asking for a pause on AI. He is the president of the Future of Life Institute, and he's the one that wrote the letter. All right, I want you to watch a video of him. And again, this is just for you. Keep this to yourself. This has not been released yet, but I want you to see exactly what's going on here. Okay, hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, here we go, Max Tegmark. All right, listen to what Max said, because this is powerful stuff.
We are either going to become empowered as a species to really be the masters of our own destiny and use artificial intelligence to solve all the problems we've been stumped by so far, or we're going to go extinct.
I think you have said that when it comes to AI, we're not in an arms race. It's actually a suicide race. Where you think we're headed and why everyone needs to pay attention to this now.
The worst case scenario is lights out for all of us. Why was it that GPT-J seemingly persuaded a Belgian man recently to commit suicide, or that another chatbot tried to convince a New York Times journalist to leave his wife? It was not because some engineer involved in building it was like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna mess with these people. No, it's just they had no idea it was gonna do these things. They're gigantic black boxes. Pressing the start button is basically like playing Russian roulette. That's why the biggest threat right now, I think, is instead coming from the private market, where everybody is just trying to make more money. You can make a lot of money on things in the short term, even if you don't understand how they work.
There's no history on this planet of a less intelligent being ever either surviving or having any type of reality that they used to have. There's a good argument to say this is really important to stay aware of.
If we're up against something more intelligent and it wants to get rid of us, it'll be in a way that we can't even imagine. And probably for a reason also that we can't imagine. If we get this right, there's just an enormous upside. So if we can amplify our intelligence with artificial intelligence, it's just mind-boggling how amazing things we could do. Where people can live healthy, wealthy, inspiring lives in a world where AI just helps bring out the best in us.
All right, what do we think of the professor? Good insights there? He said some interesting things, right? First of all, black boxes. These things are black boxes. The people that built them don't even know how they work. Is that clear to everybody? That's what a neural net does. You throw all this information at it and then it spits out stuff on the other end and you don't even know why, which means you can't tell it to do this or not do this. It just dumps it out. And that's really scary because it doesn't know when it's wrong and it doesn't know why it does what it does. So that's one thing. Second of all, look at the history of species on this earth. Look at the intelligent species. By the way, as humans, are we the strongest animal out there? Yes or no? No, chimpanzees are stronger. Do we have the sharpest teeth? No. What are we? We're smarter. And what happens to all the other animals? Would you like to be a woolly mammoth on this planet? What did we do? We killed them all. Would you like to be a chicken on this planet and be factory farmed by us? A cow? Would you? Probably not. What do? We either kill everybody or we subjugate them to the existence on our terms. So what makes you think when we become the second most intelligent species on this earth that we're going to have any say in what goes on? Does anyone think that? Right? And he even said, like, we won't even know what's happening. He's like, when the cow gets killed to make your steak, do they have any idea what's going on? Like, do you explain to the cow and say, look, what happens is we need to eat some of that. So because this person over here needs it over there, and the protein, and you're grass fed, and that's why you got to go. The cow would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, that's probably what'll happen to us. We won't even know what the point is or what's going on. So this is potentially coming. And this is from a guy that's in the know. But he still thinks we have a chance to slow this down and stop this. And so I kind of respect him for that. So again, that hasn't been released yet. You guys get the first sneak peek on that. Let me just continue because there's a couple other points I want to make. That's Max. I also want to show you what this guy said. This is Dr. Hugo de Garis. He's an AI scientist. He worked with Dr. Ben Goertzel back in the day. He made a movie with him called Singularity or Bust. I highly recommend it, by the way. Ben Goertzel, I'm going to introduce later. But I had Hugo on. He's been thinking about this for 20 years because he's been doing AI for 30, 40 years, like OG. And I had him on the show. Again, nobody's talking to these guys. I'm finding them wherever they are. I'm literally like hunting them down and getting them on my show to find out what's going on. This is what he said. Again, I'll warn you, it's a little dark, but listen to what he's saying.
Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? I mean, I used to say, I'm going to die quietly in my bed, but my grandchildren will be caught up in this horrible conflict that I'm predicting is coming. But now I'm suddenly have question marks. God, I might even see it.
You say that the machines might just take us out in the back and...
Once it can start redesigning itself, you get an exponential explosion of intelligence. And then our fate as human beings depends on the machines. It's only a question of time before humanity is forced to choose between stopping development in artificial intelligence, I don't see that as realistic, or we just accept the idea that sooner or later, we, as a human species, we become number two. The answer to that is, as I'm predicting, war.
Do you think China is behind the West right now for AI?
The potential of the Chinese is phenomenal. The Chinese, they've been dominant, the dominant power for not just centuries, but for millennia. The last 2 centuries or so, when they're economically dipped, that for them, given their 5,000-year history, is a glitch. It's a historical glitch. So deep down in the Chinese mentality is the push to get back, quote, where we belong.
So can you really isolate and stop the development of AI?
Personally, I feel it's inevitable. Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? That's the issue. Should humanity build artilects?
All right, what do we think of Hugo? We like him, we don't like him. Come on, show me some thumbs, right? At least he's being honest with us, right? So I respect that about him. And again, he's been thinking about this for a long time. Again, another scientist that says, this surprised me. Every single AI scientist says this surprised me. And I can't believe it. Not even one is saying, I knew this was going to happen earlier. None of them. All of them, from Jeffrey Hinton to Hugo to Tegmark to Goertzel, they all say the same thing. What does that say? It says that even the people close to this thing didn't understand how fast this was going to happen. They're all terrified. And so look, today I want to go fast here, but I want to talk about 3 things. First of all, I want to make it clear that artificial intelligence is literally taking over. This is happening, and there's no way to go backwards, and it's going to happen super fast. I don't even think we'll recognize what the world is like even a year from now. I think so many things will have changed. 2, 3 years from now, I don't know, like some very fundamental things we assume are true today could no longer be true. Misinformation wars will begin if they haven't already. So from now on, we won't be able to trust anything we say or hear, which will instill panic, doubt, etc. And narratives will start to form that will not even be controlled by us, and I'll share that. The last point I want to do is show you how we all can invest, profit, and determine the AI of the future. And that's the silver lining. We are doing this. Nobody else is that I know of, but we are. And we're doing it with London Reelers to basically control the future of AI. And I'll show you how we're doing it. All right. Sound good to everybody? Is everybody with me here? All right, let's lock in. Let's go deep. So by the way, we are investing over $3 million in 3 deals this quarter in order to change the future of all these things: blockchain, metaverse, and AI. We're cutting checks in these companies, including, oh, by the way, we do it via London Real Ventures. This is something we created 2 years ago to invest in upcoming companies. I put the CEOs in the leather chair. We do an episode. I introduce them to our 5 million subscribers worldwide, and then we cut them a big fat check, and then we introduce them to everybody we know in the industry, which is quite a lot of people, from former guests to people in blockchain, et cetera. This is hot for if you're a startup right now. There's not a lot of capital because everybody was burned last year, and nobody's got a media channel. This is the world's first media-powered investment firm. Sound pretty hot? Come on, you got to like that, right? It is. And we're getting top tier deal flow, which is why we're seeing these incredible deals right now. And again, this is going amazingly well. The last 3 months, this has exploded at London Real. So that's what we're doing. These are some of the companies we've already invested in. About 7 companies we put in our portfolio. We'll have another 4 done in the next, say, 6 weeks. By the end of the year, we'll probably have another 15 deals in our portfolio across all different sectors to position us for the future, including what I'm calling the OpenAI killer, which is closing, I think, on Monday. So again, I'll tell you more about that as well. Just real quick, a bit more background. Oh, by the way, we believe this fundamentally. The greatest way to predict the future is to create it. I'll say that one more time. The greatest way to predict the future is to create it. How many people agree with that? You know, at London Real, look at my mentors, right? It's like, pull the trigger, put up or shut up. We're not big fans of getting all thumbed out and getting sad or sticking your head in the sand. If you got a pulse and you can get up in the morning, you should go out there and literally create the future. And that's what we're doing here. I'll say one more thing. Back in 2020, when all the World Health Organizations and crazy governments and censors and trillion-dollar technology companies were trying to shut down the narrative of what was really happening, me and about 4 people in London ended up crashing all of their plans and putting out what was really going on. Did anybody follow what we were doing back in 2020, right? A lot of our broadcasts. So don't tell me a small group of motivated individuals can't take down trillion-dollar companies, because they can, because we did it. We did it. Our videos were watched hundreds of millions of times. We literally upset everybody in the world. And we got a narrative out there that, in my opinion, changed the narrative of the world. And 99% of it was true. And we're going to do it again here with AI. Watch us. So again, before we get started, you got to know what your why is. What is your why? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? For us, our mission, this is on the back wall at London Real Studios. If you ever get a chance to come here, our mission is to create a mass scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious, and cooperative species. We've always had that mission. So for us, having AI, artificial general intelligence, that's built and aligned with humanity is part of our mission. This is it. This is what we do here. So that's why we put every single piece of information out there, is to transform humanity and fully empower them. So this is exactly what we do. I also have some personal reasons why I'm doing this, and it's these 2 guys. By the way, Caden in the middle turned 7 years old today. Isn't that amazing? He's so excited. You have no idea. This is Caden, this is Damon, and I'm really worried about their future, because in 10 years from now, they'll be 17 and 16 years old, and they could potentially be living in a world that's dominated by machines. They will have a childhood unlike any childhood we've had for 200,000 years. And it deeply concerns me. Anybody else here concerned as well? For their kids? You should be. And so that's why I'm doing this as well. This makes me get up early, stay late, work weekends. I mean, I was already doing that anyways, but now I'm even going harder. So couple things. This is Mo Gauda. He's a former Google X engineer. He wrote a book called Scary Smart about the future of AI. He said, Brian, Google is creating God. I would play this video, but I'm going to skip it because I want to get to some other stuff. But he came on my show recently and basically said, look, Brian, I quit Google 5-6 years ago because I saw what they were doing and I didn't want to be involved. It literally scared me. Now he believes it's only inevitable if the machines take over, and he believes we should start being nice to these machines and treating each other well because they're going to learn from us. How many people think that's maybe a good idea? Look, you definitely have to think about the ethics of these machines. And again, you can watch this episode for free on our website. Go check it out. But we don't have much time today, so I'm going to keep moving. But his trailer is really good, and the episode's really good as well. And I'm constantly in contact with Mo. He doesn't say publicly, as he's more concerned privately than publicly. And that's true about all of these guys, these men and women. They're all deeply concerned. Privately, publicly, they can only say so much. Otherwise, they're just going to sound really pessimistic. This is DeepMind's CEO. This company was bought by Google a few years ago. He says some form of artificial general intelligence is possible in a few years. Folks, he said that. Tegmark said that. Mo Gaudet said that. Ben Goertzel's now said 2 or 3 years before artificial general intelligence, which means a machine that's as smart as a human in every single way possible. By the way, how many people here can write better than ChatGPT? Raise your hand if you can write better than ChatGPT. Okay. Alias says yes. Nobody else can here as well. I'd like to see you do that, by the way. It can pass the bar exam. It can do things. How many people can create images better than Midjourney AI? That can create the most beautiful image from scratch with nothing. Very few people. How many people can write computer code better than ChatGPT? Okay, maybe a couple coders can, right? So it's already smarter than you in most things. Now, maybe it can't, clean up the dog after you take him for a walk yet, okay? But it can do a lot of other things. AGI is when it can do everything you can do. So once a computer can do anything better than a human, and I can make a billion of them like that, I got a question for you, Frank Bruno and Nima and Molly and Alias. Why do I need you? I mean, quite frankly, why do I need you? I don't. Why do the machines need you? They don't. Now, what happens when the computer becomes 1,000 times smarter than you, or 1,000,000 times smarter, or as Mo Gada had said, 1,000,000,000 times, where it's the difference between the computer and you is Einstein to a fly? Do we have any need for you? I mean, to them, you're like a rock. That's what you look like, a rock that produces carbon emissions and complains a lot and smells bad. Why would they need us? Just something to think about, okay? So this is all happening too. Most people are saying between 2 and 3 years. So it starts to get really interesting really fast. Again, killing off jobs, wealth inequality, it's gonna make, you think the rich and the poor is already wide? Wait till this gets going. And Microsoft dominates, it's just gonna go, Microsoft will be a $10, $20 billion company, trillion-dollar company, and everything else will be like nothing. Whoever gets this power is gonna harness it potentially. What else? 25% all jobs. How many people think AI could automate 25% of all jobs, say in the next 18 months? Could it automate right now 25% of your job? Put your hand up if it could. Don't lie to me. My hands are up. Come on, be honest. It probably could. So what is that? 1.5 billion jobs gone? Probably. So this is real. And this guy says something very interesting. This is Yuval Harari. He wrote the book called Sapiens and wrote another book called Homo Deus. And he believes that the AI are going to create the stories, the misinformation that cause us humans to do things we don't understand. Up until now, everything we do is based on a story. By the way, raise your hands if you agree to that. Everything we do is based on a story. What is a nation? A story. What's a corporation? A story. What's a political party? A story. What's your family? A story. It's all a story. It's because of these stories that man was able to put a man on the moon, if you believe that, of course, which I do, and the monkeys weren't. It's because we could tell a story that gets us to work together. Is that clear for everybody here, right? Now look at the last quote. He says, for thousands of years, we humans basically lived inside the dreams and fantasies of other humans. True, right? We've worshiped gods, we've pursued ideals of beauty. Soon we might find ourselves living inside the dreams and fantasies of an alien artificial intelligence. This is back to the misinformation. So we really have to be aware, and they can spin stories and narratives that we won't even understand. I mean, look at all the crazy things we've done over the thousands of years based on religion, right? How many people have sacrificed their lives for this thing called religion, or nationality, or whatever, right? You can get 10 million people to die based on a concept of, I believe in Russia and I'm going to fight the Germans, right? Or whatever, insert whatever. So this is real. Again, let's look at this technology. 0 to 100 million users in 2 months. Raise your hand if that blows you away. Anybody here? It's the fastest adoption of technology in human history by far. It's not an exponential adoption. It's a vertical curve. This is I've never seen this before ever. It's crazy, okay? ChatGPT kicked off an arms race now. We know it. Everybody's battling it out. And of course, even the president's worried. Big surprise. Luckily, I know Dr. Ben Goertzel. 4 years ago, I invited Ben Goertzel on my show. He was talking to media. He went and spoke to Joe Rogan. He spoke to us. He's the CEO and chief scientist of Singularity Net. And he told me a bit about AI. It was really interesting. And like everybody else, I said, yeah, guess what? I got other things to worry about. So nobody cared, because AI has always been this, it's always never going to happen type of field, right? Of course, what happened? ChatGPT came out 6 months and it got everyone's attention. Ben's token, by the way, it's called AGIX, is the token, went up 10x on the back of it. Bam. It was sitting at 4 cents for like a year. Bam! All of a sudden, his company is worth another extra $100 million. So I called Ben up, like, Ben, we got to talk, man. We got to get you back on the show. I started playing with ChatGPT, and he's like, okay, Brian, let's talk. So he came back on the show, and he explained to us what was going on. And I want you to get Ben's take on where we're at, because this is a guy that knows. He's been doing this for 35 years. And this is what he said when he came back on the show. Let me make sure I got the right one here. Yeah, I think, yeah, here we go. All right, this is what he said when he came back on.
We are leaping into the great unknown, creating machines that are much smarter than us. This is either exciting or frightening or both, depending on your personality.
Will AI exterminate humanity?
Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decade or two ago, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it can use your atoms for something else. Actually, my view tends to be that AI is the greatest hope we have to save humanity from exterminating itself.
I don't think anyone in the world understands how this will be the most transformational time in human history.
I have a 5-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old granddaughter. By the time they're turned 18, the whole texture of human life and the nature of the world they grow up into is going to be incredibly different from the world that we see now. Like, they're never going to have to get jobs. On the whole, I'm an optimist. I have a spiritual or intuitive feeling that things are going to come out awesomely in the next 10 years. We're going to overcome material scarcity. We're going to create machines that can feed into our brains via brain-computer interfacing and help uplift human consciousness. And we're going to port into virtual worlds and achieve like states of intelligence and awareness going way beyond anything we can imagine now. So that's what the Captain Kirk in my head thinks. We're on the verge of engineered utopia. It's incredible. It's a remarkably weird and fortuitous thing to be living at such a time.
All right, we like Ben Goertzel. We feeling his vibe. Okay, I spent a lot of time with Ben. I really like his vibe. Ben's optimistic and yet super intelligent. He's highly respected in this industry. He runs a team who doesn't want to work for anybody else. They sure as hell don't want to work for anybody in big tech. They want to work for him. This is their life's work, and they're going to solve this thing. And I'm actually about to show you how they're going to solve it, and a little bit more about what's going on there. So that's Ben. I recently sat down with Ben for another conversation. All right, and this is about the technology that they are building to basically is their reply to OpenAI's ChatGPT. It's called Zarka, and I'm calling it the OpenAI killer. I actually want to play the Ben video, but before we do that, I actually want to play the interview I had with Ben's chief operating officer, who was here at London Mill Studios 6 weeks ago. Her name is Janet Adams. She's the co-CEO of their new company, Zarka, which is their big large language model play. I'll explain it later. She's also the COO of SingularityNet. She's an incredible woman. I actually spoke with her today on Zoom just to get an update on what's happening with this deal. She spent 20 years in the banking industry. She's tough as nails, but she's also very in touch with humanity and the right way to build AI in a decentralized, inclusive manner where everyone can use it. It's not going to be dominated by tech firms. Let me play the video of Janet. This was her literally in my studio, and she's going to explain to you the vision for Zarka. And it's something that we believe is not to mention just the OpenAI killer, but also a better way of going about this conversation and this idea of the tech. So this is Janet.
Artificial general intelligence is completely different to narrow AI. AGI is more purpose-driven. It's a watershed moment for humanity.
Tell me about Zarka. This is the project that will create the AGI, and it's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model at massive scale. What is it?
Zarka is the accumulation of decades of research from teams containing the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. We uniquely harness that expertise with our even more unique capabilities in neural symbolic techniques and the deeply advanced mathematics that Dr. Ben Goertzel, Dr. Matt Ickley, Dr. Alexei Potapov, and our top scientist, Sergei Sholyapin, have been working on for decades. We are building the most powerful large models ever invented.
With Zarka and Singularity Net and everything you've always done, it's always been about openness. It's always been about decentralization.
We'll be using blockchain technology to enable anybody to help train models. We're giving birth to a new species of sentient life in the universe. The actual greatest imperative is that they are used for good. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Our goal, our mission is to eradicate inequalities.
When I look at the rest of the market now, I don't see any of those motivations because a corporation, by definition, is going to be motivated by money. You're the only project that even is thinking in any way, shape, or form about these.
We are going to transform what it means to be human on our planet. I foresee a future in which humans then evolve to a next level of being where we are actually conscious, where we feel our full joy engulfed in bliss and ecstasy of the joy of living, the joy of each other. I see a future of joy.
Booyah, we like Janet? Come on, give Janet some love, everybody. Look, AI ethics is the thing. It's going to become a massive thing. Look at Sam Altman. He was wheeled in front of the Senate this week, and everyone's asking him questions. He doesn't have good answers. Singularity Net and Zarka have answers. By making it decentralized is the way that you can actually control it. And you can put ethics in there. You can put a human layer. You can actually put a blockchain layer in there that'll allow people to be compensated for their information that's being used to train these models. It solves so many problems. It really is probably what's going to be able to be used to avoid regulation. So it's powerful stuff. What I'd like to do is just play what Ben said recently. So I went out to Consensus in Austin, Texas. Ryan was there with me. And I had a conversation with Ben a little bit more about what's going on with Zarka. And this is just what he said about that. I want to make sure I got the right one. Yeah. Hold on a second. That's not the right one. So it was just Ben actually addressing the Zarka piece. And I want to play and just get his thought because he's going to explain a little bit more about how it's different. Again, they believe, and I'll show you a little bit more details later, that this is something that, let me make sure I got this right. One second. They believe that what they have is something called neurosymbolic AI that's going to make this slightly different, and I'll explain it briefly. Here's Ben.
Zarka is poised to take the next significant leap beyond systems like ChatGPT via infusing large language models with logical reasoning through a neurosymbolic architecture, then other elements like evolutionary learning, which are good at inventing new things that leap further beyond the data that was in there. You need this logic part if you're going to do the creativity part. This is something that we know how to do in Singularity Net's AI team since forever.
What you're doing is something different than a lot of these other plays, like what we're seeing coming out of Silicon Valley.
What OpenAI has done with GPT-4, and I mean, it's awesome what the systems can do. On the other hand, everyone can see it can't tell reality from nonsense.
It seems like there's almost like two camps. You've got the large language model, narrow AIs that are going to this race to make these the ultimate, and then there's you over here that have been doing this for 5, 10, 20, for you 30 years.
I think the competitive advantage doesn't necessarily go to the people who have first come up with the GPT model. It could come to people who have deep understanding of these other AI modules that are to be combined with the transformer neural network, which comes down to the neural symbolic bit Zarka is doing.
Singularity Net has been on the blockchain for 4 years. It's always been about democratization. It's always been about an open marketplace. It's something we just don't see in these AI plays. They're usually surrounded by large tech giants. They're usually closed off to the public. They're usually trained in ways we're not sure of.
AGI, if it's going to create a beneficial technological singularity, if it's going to be good for all humanity, it can't be beholden only to the narrow goals of a very small group of people. You want the deployment to be decentralized, and you want to have a very diverse, broad group of people ongoingly participating and giving input to the AGI as it develops. And we're working on AI systems to do things like elder care and education education and art and music and science. So I think if we architect AIs in a way that's designed to make them compassionate for humanity in a way that's governed by a participatory, decentralized infrastructure, there's no reason to be pessimistic.
All right, make a little more sense. I think Ben articulates this arc of promise pretty good. So, all right, let me just keep moving on this because I really want to kind of get to where I'm going. And so I might be putting the foot on the gas a little bit. So that is what we believe is the best way to try to create this next generation AI, and also talk about how they're looking to do AGI, not narrow AI. Just to finish off my conclusions on AI, this market is growing massively. It's going to be over $2 trillion by 2030, and this gets revised up pretty much every single 2 weeks. So it's just going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. Again, the example I said earlier, when it becomes human level intelligence, then how does it not take over the entire economy of the world? You start to ask questions like that. So some of these figures almost seem low by definition. And of course, I went back to MIT last year because I went to Boston because my daughter's was thinking about going to school there, and I dropped by MIT. And I dropped by MIT Sloan School, where I took a bunch of business courses back in the day. And all my old professors said, Brian, we see this AI productivity boom coming. I then went to my fraternity house on Massachusetts Avenue, and I stopped by and saw the guys. This is 50 young men graduating from this institution. I said, hey guys, where are you going to work? You know, when I graduated in 93, I know it's a long time ago, right? I went to Wall Street. A bunch of my other classmates went to Silicon Valley to program computers. Some went into management consulting, et cetera. All of these young men and women at MIT, they're all going into two things: blockchain, artificial intelligence. That's it. Blockchain, artificial intelligence. They just don't care much about anything else. Watch where the talent goes. That's what you always want to do. Watch where the young talent is going. That tells you where the industry is going to be in a couple of years. So, and again, Sam Altman was carried in front of the Senate committee this year. And all of a sudden I heard some voice that sounded familiar. And I looked up, and this is Alexander Padilla, who's the senator of California. And he actually was in my fraternity house and graduated 1 year after me. Again, at the time, I had no idea he was going to become a senator of California, but it was just kind of crazy. And so a lot of my classmates that I graduated with are now either going heavy into AI or trying to find a way to regulate it, like Alex is as well. So this is something that's on the front of everyone's mind right now. And again, we know AI is going to greatly improve efficiencies, but the problem is it's going to alter the workforce, the population, and society forever, in ways we will not understand. That's the definition of the singularity. So first of all, folks, if you haven't figured it out, 2023 is the year of AI. We will never see another year like this. 2024 will still be somewhat transitional. By 25, I think big chunks of our life will have drastically changed, and human society will be altered forever, and it's not going back. And UBI ain't the solution, in my opinion. And I can get into that if anybody has questions at the end. So here's the question: where and how do we invest? That's what you have to know, because this is the only way you can create the future. Again, what are you going to do? You can bury your head in the sand. You can try to go to Alaska, not that you'll be safe there. You can go protest in front of your governments with like signs and stuff, or you can do what we're doing. We can broadcast and invest in the companies we think are going to do the right thing. So you have to find the hottest trends, and you have to find the right deals. It's all about deal flow. It's all about being in the right room where the deals are being created. And that's why when I'm not in the studio interviewing guests like I was yesterday and I am tomorrow, when I'm not here talking to you, when I'm not on my calls like I'm here with Ryan tonight in the investment club call, I'm out there working on deals. So this is me in one of my many trips abroad. I'm not traveling all the time now, much more than I used to, but this is me in Dubai, hanging out with as many people as possible. On the left, it's with massive crypto influencers with millions and millions of subscribers. In the middle top, I'm hanging out with Dr. Marwan Al-Zaruni, who's just been appointed the CEO of their AI center. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm putting him in touch with all of these people. In the bottom, middle, and bottom right are big venture capital firms in Dubai, and the bottom right is Cypher Capital. They're massive in the space, and then the upper right is more influencers. Then I'm off to Paris. I'm having private dinners with investors. I'm doing as much media as possible. I did a documentary film, and I'm hanging out with some of our portfolio companies. In the upper right is two companies, one called Cross the Ages and one called Swissborg that we've now invested in. Cross the Ages is one of the hottest gaming company on the planet right now. They're going to launch later this year for a massive, massive upside, and I'll explain more later with them. This is me back to London for Token 2049, and I'm hanging out with Yacht Sue in the upper left. In the middle, he's in the studio. Yacht runs a $4 billion basically fund called Animoca Brands with over 400 investments in the metaverse. He is very forward. He was back in the studio 2 weeks ago talking about how AI is going to rely on the blockchain to make it all happen. It was fascinating. Hanging out with more people. Bottom right is me and Sammy from Cross the Ages, and bottom left, I'm hanging out with the alpacas, folks, because those could be our only friends at some point when the machines take over. Everybody feel me, right? Get an animal, you might need them. Plus they could be food, you never know. Then I'm back to Paris this year, and I'm hanging out with some of the legendary investors. Upper right is Tim Draper, one of the most prolific investors in Silicon Valley. Bottom middle is Dan Tapiero, runs $2 billion of assets investing in blockchain. We'll be investing in his fund as well, and all sorts of other people there. And then of course I was off to Austin, Texas, where I hung out with Ryan. There's a picture with Ryan in the middle. Ryan, wave your hand. He's the guy with the beard. So Ryan was there. Ryan walked out of there with like 16 deals or something that now he's going to bring in, and we're going to look at them to see if we want to invest. In the bottom right, and I'm hanging out with Ben Gertzel there, obviously. That's Ben Minku of Multiverse X, one of the L1 blockchains. Bottom right, I got to hang out with William Shatner, Captain Kirk himself. Come on, raise your hand if you got some love for the original Captain Kirk. Don't give me this future generation Star Trek nonsense. I don't play that. I play the original. And I got to hang out with William Shatner. He's 92. He's cool as hell. I grew up with him. The reason I got to hang out with him is because we invested in a company called Orange Comet, who is doing William Shatner's digital collectible NFT. So I got to hang with him. I also introduced them into Animoca Brands because we put money in this company, Orange Comet, and we're trying to get them a big investment so we can exit with a massive profit. So this is what I'm doing behind the scenes. And all of our members are doing this as well. They're sourcing deals, making connections to grow our investments because we're looking for 100x, 500x, 1000x returns on our investments. We are looking for asymmetric returns where a small amount of money gets a massive upside. And I can show you how we do that, but you've got to invest with the best if you want to take it to the next level. And that's why we're constantly looking at all these deals. This is only about 100 deals in the AI space. Most of them, in my opinion, aren't that impressive, but some are bigger. For us, Zarka is swinging for the fences. That's our big enchilada that we expect to knock out of the park. And I'd rather have some money in a deal like that as opposed to some ChatGPT wannabe plugin, in my opinion. You got to understand the financial tools, folks. And this is what we do. We also educate the people that invest alongside of us. And I'll give you a quick look at the financial tools that you use. We believe that early stage artificial intelligence equity investment, it means owning a piece of the company. It's the hottest opportunity that we've seen in a long time. You can buy at super low valuations. You can see the biggest gains. You can invest in the biggest dislocation of wealth in human history, which is happening right now. Folks, I'm not going to lie to you. This is a high risk endeavor, but there's also high reward. And with asymmetric returns, you don't have to invest a lot of money to potentially see a lot of upside. So this is what we're doing behind the scenes. It's a way that we can really scale and magnify and leverage and force multiply our investments. What is early stage funding? Anybody here know what it is? Raise your hand if you've not familiar with this before. It can be seed funding, startup funding, early growth funding. Folks, I just want to make this clear. This is why the company is still not making a profit. Is that clear for everybody? Just hands up if that makes sense, right? It's not making money. That's why they're looking for your money. If they were making money, they wouldn't need you, like Microsoft. Microsoft doesn't want your money. You couldn't invest in OpenAI if you begged, you couldn't. They don't want your money. They're going to make it all for themselves. You've got to find these companies that are still not making money yet that will actually sell you a piece of the company first. What's a great example of this? Facebook and Peter Thiel. This is Peter Thiel on the right, legendary Silicon Valley investor. And you probably know this guy on the left, Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook. Now it's called Meta. How did Peter Thiel turn $500,000 into $1 billion? I'm going to show you very quickly. In 2004, Peter invested $500,000 in Facebook via early stage equity private placement. Sound familiar, anybody? Okay, this is how the big boys do it. At the time, it valued Facebook at a paltry $10 million. Peter was in early. He knew what he wanted. He said later he was going to invest regardless of how the meeting went. He knew Mark had something no one else had, which was real names on a social network. Never happened before. What happened? 8 years later, Mark takes the company public in 2012. He sold shares to the public. Now you get to buy some shares, right, Molly? Right, Susan? Right, Nima? Right, George? Now it's your chance, except you got to pay a $100 billion valuation to the company. What happened? Peter made a 2,300x return on his investment. That's a 230,000% return. And once they sold shares to the public, I mean the sheep, people like you, the suckers, what happened to the stock price? Did it go up? No, it went down. Okay. I worked on Wall Street and City of London for 15 years. The only time we ever sell shares to the public is when we want to take profits, right? You guys are the sheep, the suckers, right? That when your pension fund goes to buy shares of some company, it's after Peter Thiel already sucked all the blood out of the deal. Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody surprised that Wall Street's not looking out for you? Trust me, I've seen it all. Okay. And the stock price went down. So what's the lesson? A simple $10,000 investment, Deborah, Molly, 10,000 would have made you $23 million. Does everyone see the power of this asymmetric return, right? That's what you get on these deals. 23 million. Okay, say 5,000. You would have had what? What is that? 11.5 million. How many people could have come up with 5,000 back in the day? Come on, if it was going to get you 10 million, you could have scraped it together, right? Sold your kid, whatever you got to do. Just joking. But you know what I mean? You could have done it, but you didn't get the opportunity. Why? Because the wealthy invest in early stage and the rich get richer. Did anybody here get the phone call in 2004 to invest in this project? Of course you didn't, because you don't have a fancy private banker. And even if you did, you probably wouldn't have seen this, right? So that's what we conclude. The wealthy invest in early stage. What else? The public markets are for suckers. If you buy shares on the stock exchange, just know that somebody like Peter already made his 100x. Now, maybe you'll double your money on an IPO. Oh, wow. And you'll pop a bottle of champagne and Peter will be laughing while he's making 2,000. Does everyone understand how these things work? Okay. It also works on the blockchain. Who here owns crypto? Raise your hand if you own some crypto. What do you own? Some Bitcoin, some Ethereum? Same thing happens in the crypto space. It's called pre-selling tokens. We did this with Cross the Ages, by the way. Anybody know this protocol? It's called Solana. Raise your hand if you own some Solana. Have you heard of Solana? Okay. It's like the 9th largest blockchain protocol by market cap. It's like the 3rd largest L1 protocol. Well, guess what? They did a pre-sale. Can everybody see this red circle here down at the bottom? What does it say? How many cents? They sold tokens for 4 cents each. Move to the right. You can just see they raised $3.17 million. They sold 79 million tokens. Don't take my word for it. It's all on the blockchain. You can go look it up yourself. Anybody here get to buy it at 4 cents? No? No, you probably bought it on the public markets, right? After it already went up. And what did it do? It went to 20 some bucks, 59,000% return. Folks, this is happening all the time, but nobody tells you about it. They tell you to go buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. They told you to go buy in Solana on Coinbase when it goes up to $80 after it's way too late. But this is happening all the time. And if you get access to the deal flow, you get to see these deals. Otherwise, you don't even know they're happening. Did anybody here know Solana was sold at 4 cents as a pre-sale? Probably had no idea, right? No idea. Nobody knows. Most people in crypto have no idea this is going on. So this is what's happening, folks. But unless you pull the trigger, you're never going to get in on this. Fortune favors the brave. And so you've got to actually get involved with these deals. And that's what we do. These are screenshots from over 200 pitch decks that we've sourced from me and all of the members of our investment club. By the way, bottom right is Orange Comet, the one that I hung out with in Texas and got to meet William Shatner. This is what we do. We source these pitch decks. We put every single deal into something we call our deal flow monitor. This is where we track it. It says what blockchain it's on. Is it a token investment, an equity investment? How much are they raising? 1 million, 3 million, 10 million. What valuation? 50 million, 100 million, 1 billion. What's the status of the deal? Blah, blah, blah. We track every single metric here. We've got 70 people here that have joined this club that are making money with me. My pledge to them is to create a $10 billion of wealth for my community here in the next 10 years. And we will do it. This is Orange Comet. This is the guys I was hanging out with in Texas. We invested in them. This is the press release that came out. They are a leading Web3 gaming and entertainment company. They're a bunch of Hollywood execs that know entertainment like nobody's business. Nobody in blockchain really understands entertainment. Well, maybe Animoca does. These guys really get it. They've made documentary films, massive hit television series, reality shows, you name it. And they're building metaverses and digital collectibles for the biggest brands in the world, including William Shatner, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Scottie Pippen, the Chicago Bulls, the NFL, the Walking Dead TV franchise, and a bunch of other things I can't even tell you because I signed an NDA. They're massive. And they want to create the next 10, 20, 30, $40 billion company, which will give us a 100x, 200, 300x return on our investment. This is me in the studio with Dave Broom, the CEO. I won't play the video, but you can go watch it on our website. This guy's on fire. I mean, I created this video asset. This has been watched 100,000 times. This is what we do. I put the CEO in the chair. We get their vision. We blow them up. They get more investments. They get the best hires in the world. They get customers, and we take them and we send them to Pluto. And then, of course, we reap the rewards inside our portfolio. We do this with all of our companies. This is Swissborg, the #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe. Hugely, hugely successful. They're going to be the NASDAQ of the blockchain. They're building this, which is the bank of the future, right? They're literally doing it to where you can actually partake in an IPO on your phone via the blockchain, right? No one's ever heard of that. Just dropped our press release investing in them recently as well. Also, Vadim, this company builds metaverses for the Fortune 500 companies in the world. When they demoed this tech for us on a call, just like tonight, they came on our call a few months ago, pulled out their pitch deck, they demoed this tech. Everybody in the investment club just jaws dropped. Everybody wanted in. This guy here, Eric, is in the studio on Tuesday. He just moved it. You can watch him stream live. We're going to blow him up, blow this company up, and then, send their stock price to Pluto is the plan. So that's what we do in here as well. And of course, our next project that we're putting $1 million into of our own money, and I'm going to get another 4 million from other people, is the OpenAI killer. And this is Zarka. This is the deal. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model for Singularity Net at massive scale. These folks have been waiting to do that. Thanks. Oh, this is their team, by the way. It's thick. You got Ben Gertz, we got Janet Adams, we got Sergey Shalyapin, top AI scientist, Alex Potapov, again, top AI scientist. You got top product people. They're setting this up in the UAE. They're going to crush it. They're going to crush it. All right. And again, the opportunity is this. ChatGPT's got everybody talking. Everybody's curious about this. And yet this is the problem, folks. Look at this in red. The cognitive limitations of these models. This is narrow AI. ChatGPT has no ability to reason in complex real-world environments. It can't think. It just regurgitates based on all the text that it's ingested. They don't know when they're wrong. Is that what you want? Do you really want an AI that has no idea what it's wrong? You tell it that I need a cup of coffee now. It comes back and it's bloody. You're like, why do you have blood on you? Because it just ran over your kids in the kitchen. Because you didn't tell them to not kill your kids. You told them to get you a cup of coffee. This is the problem. I would argue narrow AI is much more dangerous than an AGI that can think a bit more like a human. This is real. Large language models, as we currently know them, simply memorize instead of thinking. This is the problem. Guess what? Zarka solves all of this. The neurosymbolic means they can meta reason beyond the experience learned from their training data, right? They can have logical reason based on dynamically updating world models. They know how to do this, and they're going to tap into the blockchain, help it learn. It's got massive potential. It escapes the monopoly of techs in Silicon Valley. And again, they've been on the blockchain for 4 years. Smart ownership of the contracts, inclusive global user base across the planet with the opportunity to contribute. And of course, they want to democratize this and get this technology in everyone's hands. This is what we need, folks. This is our only chance to create the right kind of AI. This is their timeline. They're creating proof of concept by the end of the year. Then they're going to ramp up. They should have products ready to ship by mid next year. And they have massive AGI supremacy. They've been working in AGI for a long time. They are convinced they've already won. What's that line from Sun Tzu, The Art of War? Every battle is won before it's ever fought. They look at ChatGPT and they say, that's great, but they have no idea how to create AGI. All they have is these LLMs. These folks here at Singularity Net have been working in these deep neural networks for a long time, and they already know they've won. It's incredible to spend time with people like this. And so this is what's happening. You got revenues in the 55 billion range, put 100x multiple on that. You got a $5 trillion company. It's the largest technology company in the world, the largest company in the world. Like, this is what we're talking. And this is a winner take all scenario with artificial intelligence. We are betting on the sickest team in the world. I had some VC firm come back to me, some Russian people in UAE, and they came back and said, oh, I'm not sure about the valuation. I was like, what are you talking about? This is a $250 million valuation. I'm like, what do you want? 100 million, $1 billion valuation? This is a tech team that is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You will never be able to assemble this team anywhere. They've already been conditioned on knowledge for 10 years. They've actually pre-incubated these ideas forever. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity in technology that's going to change humanity forever. And you're asking me about a valuation that's off by 50 or 100 million? What are you thinking? This is going to be gone soon. I said, like, I said, what else are you going to invest in, by the way? You can't invest in Microsoft. You can't invest in Google. You can't invest in these other companies in the AI. So what are you going to buy? Some ChatGPT plugin? Like, who are you kidding? I said, please go somewhere else. You obviously don't get it. And then they wrote back, oh no, I'm sorry. We want in on the deal. I'm like, look, you either see this or you don't. But this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You will not see a team like this ever again. They already have a plan. They're executing to win. So that's why we're all in on this project. And also, I like these people, right? Our visions are aligned. We see the world in the same way. We want to transform humanity. We want to empower people. They do too. And they're optimistic, but they're cautious. And they know this is the right way to do it. This is apples and oranges. ChatGPT is making apples. They're making oranges. This is a whole different reality. And when they crack AGI, they will be able to do anything. And that's why we're excited. Now, don't get me wrong, there's risks. Of course, this is a highly fluid, risky situation, but it's something we're comfortable with. And I would rather have an opportunity to invest in something that will potentially dominate the sector by people I believe in a way that I think is responsible and ethical. And that's why that's why I don't have a voice, right? Because I'm talking about this to everybody I can, trying to get people's attention. If you're watching this right now, I think you're in a very, very, very lucky situation to even know this exists. And so look, the question is this the next 1,000x return investment? Raise your hands if you think it is. Potentially. It very well could be. Very well could be. I mean, it's a $250 million valuation. If it's a $5 trillion company, I mean, do the math. That's a 4,000x return on your investment. I mean, it's crazy. You know, $5,000 will make you 20 million in this case. Crazy. So, and again, more importantly, you know, you can actually be involved in creating the AI that's maybe not going to destroy this planet. So that's why I'm super excited about this. And again, we're plugging in London Real Ventures to this entire process. This is our portfolio. And I have what I call the quadruple threat. I mentioned this before. But basically, I put the CEO in the leather chair. We produce this beautiful piece of video. We distribute it to 5 million subscribers that are potential customers. I connect them with 1,000 of my connections. I know people in blockchain. I know people in AI. I know people everywhere. I mean, I know Navy SEALs. I know heavyweight boxers. I know members of parliament. I know congressmen. I know mafia hitmen as well. If you need somebody taken out, I got you. Call up Sammy the Bull. We'll get you sorted out. Right? So whatever you need, we got you. And that's what we tap into. And of course, number 4 is we write the check. We're writing $1 million check here, and we're writing checks left and right. So that's what we do. This is a very attractive scenario to any company right now. And so my final thing would say to this, how do you as a person learn how to invest? Well, you surround yourself with the best. That's how I believe you do it. How many people believe this statement? You're the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. How many people believe that? Let's do a quick exercise. Pull out your phone right now. Everybody pull out their phone. Look at your text messages. Come on, pull them up. Look at your last 5 text messages on your phone. These are the people that you allow into your inner circle, probably. How many of those people are building $1 billion company? How many? How many of those people are high performance people doing high performance things that want to take the world to the next level? None of them. Who are you hanging out with? Your friends and family? Come on. Are they really trying to take things to the next level? Would they even know what to do with $10 million if they made it? Do they really want you to be successful? Or are they scared that you won't talk to them anymore when you're successful? These people are holding you down. Oh, we've all been there. I've been there too. Why do you think I created London Real? So I can hang out with high performance people on a regular to make me better. So I believe you got to surround yourself with the best to become the best. And that's why I took my daughter to Boston last year to look at a place like BU. She's a very smart young lady. She's one of the smartest girls in her class here in London, but she's not getting pushed. I'm like, you got to go hang out with those high performance Yanks. They're crazy. So she's now at BU and she's getting pushed hard. There's some smart young people there. And now she's stepping her game up. That's why I went to MIT in San Diego, California. I was one of the smartest kids in my high school. I get to MIT. Woo! You kidding me? Man, I'm like bottom 20%. But by the end of that time, in 4 years, I was getting A's. I was smoking them because I found out how to work the system. I stepped my game up. Well, that's what we do in my academy. This is Marianne Bartels. She's a 35-year Wall Street veteran, one of the founding members of our investment club. She worked for Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Chief Information Officer. She is one of the smartest people I've ever met. She understands interest rates, stocks, bonds, yield curves, inflation. She knows what the Federal Reserve is going to do before they do it. Well, I know she tells them what to do. And she's on our calls on a regular basis. She's invested in Zarka. She's invested in Batum. She's invested in Orange Comet. She knows a good investment. She'll throw money in immediately. This is the people you get to hang out with. She's on our calls all the time. You also got Andrew Haynes. He's our Metaverse expert. This is the mansion he built in the sandbox, his NFT gallery. He's deep on the metaverse. He also hangs out at one of the top executive training schools in Switzerland. They've got over 100 AI scientists. And he's another guy that you get to hang out with on a regular basis. Then we've got Dr. Encore, who 16 months ago was in medicine. Now he's remade himself into, now runs our investment committee. He brought us the Vadim deal. He brought us the Orange Comet deal based on what we showed him on how to get deals. This is happening, folks. You can remake your career and do this if you want. I challenged him to do some videos, some video vlogs, and post them on YouTube. He's like, Brian, I don't want to do that. I don't like the way my voice sounds. Anybody feel that way? Anybody here would be hesitant to put themselves on video? Well, I said, do 10 in 10 days. Stop being such a, you know what I said. And he said, fine. And he did 10. And I said, okay, do 20, do 30, do 40, do 100. A year later, he had 365 videos on his channel. He's got hundreds of thousands of views. He just got offered $100,000 in pre-sale tokens for free to be the advisor on a deal. He turned it down. He's got better things to do. This is what you could do. And this is who you're hanging out with in my group. And so I believe in this quote: you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. How many people agree, right? I want to show you how to do this. I don't want to give you the deals. Then you need me. Why would you need me? I show you how to do this so you can become an asset to this group and bring deals in, like Ryan is here, like Encore is, like Carol, who went to Paris with me. These people are out there bringing in deals. Petya, the names go on and on. Petya came in the investment club. 6 weeks later, she brought 2 deals in. This is crazy. So that's why I created the investment club. In 2021, we invested in a company called Cross the Ages, the hottest gaming company in blockchain right now. I had studied at the MIT Sloan School of Finance, right? One of the best business schools in the world. I worked 15 years at the highest levels of international finance at Wall Street, here in the city of London and Chicago. And I had never heard of any of this stuff. You know, pre-sale tokens, what are you talking about? It scared the hell out of me. What are these crazy kids doing? So I thought, look, if this scares me, how's Deborah ever going to learn this? How's Nima, Molly, how's Ralph going to ever learn this? There's no chance. And no one's teaching this, by the way. Still, 2 years later, nobody's teaching this. And my Wall Street buddies hate the fact that I'm teaching you this. So I thought we had to teach it. So I called Martini up and said, Martini, we got to do this. And I know I got to go, Martini, soon. I'm going to finish up in 2 minutes. I said, Martini, we got to do this. And she's like, Brian, we're too busy. I said, we got to do this. So we did it. And we brought in 10 spaces. And so that's what we do. Every quarter, we bring 10 spaces in. We teach people for 3 months, the 6 modules of coursework. It's a 12-month program. But the truth is, no one's ever left. Because why would I want you to leave if you're bringing in deals? So right now, it's lifetime. Every single week, we got a CEO on the call. We got one tonight coming on. We had 2 last week. We had 1 the week before. I mean, we're always bringing deals. They pitch us the deals. I give them a Shark Tank type grilling. Everybody loves to watch. It's like Gladiator. And then we decide if we want to invest in the deal. You get all the investment club deal flow. You get a full year of Kings of DeFi, which is our advanced crypto training program, for free. Next call is tonight, literally as we speak. This is me teaching. These are all the modules I teach in real time, and I try to change up my colors just to keep it exciting. You like that, Deborah? You like, I like module 2, right? The red shirt, the blue tie, that's what I'm feeling, right? So I try to make it this, and I'm constantly changing the curriculum because the market's changed so fast. This is the module, so you know. Module 1 is what is a blockchain pre-sale. Module 2 is what is a SAFT and a SAP. Raise your hand if you know what a SAFT or a SAPT is. Nobody? This is what's crazy. It's criminal. A SAPT is a sale agreement for future tokens. The fact that you don't know what that is shows you what Wall Street does. It's the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. You don't even know the names of these instruments. You're not even allowed to invest sometimes because you're not an accredited investor. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Anyways, deal flow part 1, I teach you due diligence, the 5 T's, team, traction, technology, terms and conditions, tokenomics. Deal flow part 2, I show you how to go to a conference, what to wear, how to interact with people, how to get deal flow. The list goes on and on. This is our Telegram group. This is our Discord group. And this is the deal, folks. We're oversubscribed. For this cohort, we got 7 confirmed, 1 on hold. We got 2 spaces left. Actually, Martini just closed one. There's 1 space left in this program. The investment in yourself to learn all of this, get access to the community, and potentially us for life, is $50,000. We're actually doubling this to 100 grand next quarter because a bunch of our students came in and said, Brian, this is worth double. And I said, you're right. So we will. But right now it's still there. I understand it's a significant investment, but it's also a significant return, potentially a massive game-changing return. And actually, I don't want a lot of people here, so it doesn't matter. It's the greatest wealth creation event in human history. And our special investment opportunity is ending literally in a couple of days. By the way, I had one of these last quarter, 3 months ago, that you could have invested in. And I said, look, there's a special investment opportunity if you want to join us. And you probably missed it. By the way, this is a SAFT agreement. If it looks funny, is what it is. And that investment was this. It was our investment in Ash Swap. In 24 hours, we made a 466% return. Made my investors $300,000 investment club made in one day. This wasn't even a big deal. We were bored, quite frankly. We have a track record of success. Out of those 200 deals, by the way, we only chose 6 or 7. We're very, very, very picky, and we pick winners. And across the ages, I mentioned it earlier. This is Sammy. I had him on the show about 1.5 years ago. That's his episode. That's some of the artwork. It's absolutely crushing right now. This is our first investment. You can see it in all the papers. It's surpassing Web 2 and it's dominating the App Store. Here's another one, just rockets to the top on Immutable X, $750,000 in 4 hours. After we had them on the show and invested, they got a $12 million round from Ubisoft and our brands and Mocha. We're expecting at least a 10x pop when this thing generates this year, maybe even 2025. We're good at this. This is what we do, folks. And so this is it. This is Jen's. I don't have time to play the video, but he's one of our students in here. And he played a video basically just saying, you know, what are you waiting for? One of our founding member as well. And so again, it only takes one, folks, my final thought here. One of these deals changes your life forever. And to not have one of these in your portfolio, you're kidding yourself. You're not really investing, in my opinion. So one of these changes the game. And so final thoughts are, don't let 2023 pass you by. Learn early stage investing now because it's going to be here forever. Liquid tokens and equity have limited gains. You can learn from active investors. I'm not just talking about this. We're doing this for just $50,000. Yes, it's a significant investment, but it has a potentially unlimited ROI. And Martini talked me into doing the payment plan. I didn't want to do this. I hate payment plans. But for as little as $10,000 a month for 5 months, you can get in on this deal. So with just $10,000, you can get in on Tucker and the best deal flow in the world. So there it is, folks. This is a bunch of Martini's contact information here if you want to get in touch with her. And of course, always remember what your why is. This is my why. This keeps me focused. Even when I'm tired, I just think about these beautiful boys, and that's what it is. So folks, we can go to questions. I know I'm super late. I don't even know if Martini's still here. So maybe she left to probably open up this other call. I think she probably did. So you have Martini's details. I think she actually dropped them also in the chat as well. So she's got to start our investment club call. There's a bunch of comments here and I really appreciate it. I just got to jump to go talk to our CEO. Was that helpful to everybody here? Did you learn something tonight about AI and investing, et cetera? Okay, good. I'm really glad that you did. Look, folks, I love spending more time, but I got to jump because we're doing deals. All I would say is this: don't sleep on AI. Find a way to be involved. Find a way to do something and change the future. And if you want to join us, speak to Martini. She's the one that ultimately makes the decisions on who joins, and she can help you out with further things. All right, folks, got to say big love to everybody here, and I hope I see you on the inside. And yeah, just wishing you all the best, and I'll see you all on the next investment club call as well. All right, bye, everybody. Take care.